One of the reasons you never actually succeed is because of the videos you keep watching. You know the ones. The guy with the six-figure business talking about his morning routine, the woman who transformed her body in 6 months, the 22-year-old who quit his job and built something from nothing. You watch them back to back. You feel something stir inside you. You get fired up. You tell yourself, this time is different. And then you close the app, and nothing changes. And the reason nothing changes is because you keep borrowing other people's stories instead of writing your own. You keep measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20. You keep consuming inspiration like it is a substitute for action. Like watching enough of it will eventually be enough to move you. It won't. It never has. And deep down, you already know that. So this video is going to be different. There are no faces in this video. No success stories to compare yourself to. No highlight reel to make you feel behind. Just one image and a philosophy that is over 2,000 years old. One that has nothing to do with anyone else's life and everything to do with yours.
No more comparisons, no more borrowed motivation. Just you, this philosophy, and what you decide to do with it. This is Stoicism, and it is the only thing you need in 2026. Let's start with the problem, because before we talk about what this philosophy can do for your life, we need to be honest about what is actually going on. Most people are living reactively. They wake up, and before they have had a single thought of their own, they are already inside someone else's world, absorbing someone else's opinions, watching someone else's wins, measuring themselves against someone else's timeline. And by the time the day is over, they feel exhausted, behind, and vaguely empty, even if nothing particularly bad actually happened. That feeling, that constant low hum of not being enough, not doing enough, not being where you should be, is not a motivation problem. It is not a discipline problem. It is not even a comparison problem, although that is part of it. It is a philosophy problem. You do not have a framework for your own life, so you keep borrowing everyone else's, and borrowed frameworks will never fit you the way your own will. Stoicism gives you your own, and here is how it works. The first and most important principle the Stoics ever taught is called the dichotomy of control. It sounds simple, it is not easy, but once it lands in you really lands, it will free you from more unnecessary suffering than any motivational video ever could. Here it is. There are things within your control, and there are things outside your control. And the suffering of most human beings, including yours, including mine, comes from spending enormous energy on the things we cannot control while neglecting the only things we actually can. Think about how much of your mental energy goes to things outside your control. What people think of you, whether your work gets noticed, how fast things are moving, what someone said, what someone didn't say, the economy, the algorithm, other people's choices, other people's opinions, other people's success. You carry all of it, you worry about all of it, you lose sleep over all of it, and not 1 ounce of that energy changes a single thing, because none of it was ever yours to control in the first place. What is within your control? Your thoughts, your effort, your attitude, your response, your discipline, your integrity, what you do today, how you treat people, the standard you hold yourself to when no one is watching. That is the complete list. And the Stoics understood that if you pour everything you have into that list and completely release your grip on everything outside of it, your life transforms. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you stop hemorrhaging your energy on things that were never yours to carry. This is the first shift, and it is massive. The second principle is called amor fati, love of fate, and it is the one that will change how you see every hard thing that has ever happened to you. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled over one of the most powerful empires in history, faced plague, war, betrayal, and the deaths of his children. And yet his private journals, which we know today as meditations, a book he never intended for anyone else to read, are not filled with bitterness. They are not filled with self-pity or resentment or the question of why me. They are filled with something that is almost impossible to comprehend until you understand this philosophy. Acceptance, deliberate, active, chosen acceptance of everything that was happening, not in spite of how hard it was, but because of what it demanded from him. Amor fati does not mean pretending bad things are good. It does not mean smiling through pain or convincing yourself that everything happens for a reason in some passive, powerless way. It means something far more active than that. It means looking at what is in front of you, the difficulty, the loss, the setback, the disappointment, and choosing to use it, choosing to say, this is the material I have been given, and I am going to build something with it anyway. Think about the hardest thing that has happened to you recently, the thing that knocked you sideways. The Stoic does not ask, why did this happen to me? The Stoic asks, what does this make possible? What am I being forced to develop here that comfort never would have built in me? What is this difficulty turning me into? Every obstacle, as Marcus Aurelius wrote, is the way. Not in the way of the way, it is the way. The path forward runs directly through the hard thing, not around it, not away from it, through it. The third principle is the one that modern culture has done everything in its power to make you forget. The Stoics called it memento mori. Remember that you will die. Stay with that for a moment, because this is not morbid. This is the most clarifying thought a human being can hold. Your time here is finite. Every single day that passes is a day you do not get back. Every morning you wake up is one fewer morning you have, and the awareness of that fact held consciously, regularly, deliberately is one of the most powerful motivating forces available to you. When you truly feel that your time is limited, not as a concept, but as a reality, everything reorganizes itself. The petty arguments stop feeling worth the energy. The opinion of people who do not matter stops carrying so much weight. The dream you keep postponing stops feeling like something you can keep pushing back indefinitely, because later is not guaranteed. Later is an assumption, and the universe has never once promised you a later. Here's the question memento mori asks you, not to frighten you, but to focus you. If today were the last day you had, are you living in a way you would be at peace with? Most people cannot answer yes, and that gap between how you are living and how you know you should be living is exactly where this philosophy lives. The fourth principle is the one that will actually change your daily life. And in 2026, in a world that has engineered distraction into every moment of your existence, this principle is not just important, it is survival, discipline, self-mastery, the ability to govern yourself from the inside. Epictetus, who began his life as a literal slave and became one of the most influential philosophers in history, said this: "No man is free who is not master of himself." Read that again. No man is free who is not master of himself. You can have money, you can have followers, you can have every external marker of success that the motivational videos you watch are selling you, and still be completely enslaved to your impulses, your distractions, your need for validation, your terror of discomfort. The Stoics practiced what they called voluntary discomfort. Marcus Aurelius deliberately chose simple food, cold conditions, hard surfaces, not because he had to, but because he understood that a man who cannot endure discomfort is a man controlled by comfort, and a man controlled by comfort will never build anything that requires sacrifice. What is controlling you right now? What comfort are you so unwilling to give up that it is quietly limiting your entire life? The scroll that is stealing your focus, the avoidance that is costing you your growth, the fear of judgment that is keeping everything you are capable of locked inside you where no one, including you, can ever benefit from it. The Stoic path asks you to master yourself first, before the business, before the body transformation, before the big life change. Master yourself, because everything else is built on top of that foundation, and without it, nothing you build will stand. The fifth principle is the one that makes all the others real, and it is the simplest one of all. The Stoics believed that philosophy was never meant to be something you study. It was meant to be something you live. Epictetus made this distinction constantly. He did not want students, he wanted practitioners, people who did not just know about these ideas, but who woke up every morning and applied them in the small moments, in the difficult conversations, in the quiet choices that nobody else sees. And that is where this video either becomes something that changes you or something you forget by tomorrow, because you can watch this entire thing and feel it deeply and think, yes, that is exactly what I needed, and then go back to the same scroll, the same comparison, the same borrowed inspiration that has never once moved you forward. Most people will do exactly that. That is not a criticism. That is just the pattern. But some of you are going to take one thing, just one, and do something with it today. Maybe it is identifying one thing you have been trying to control that was never yours to control and consciously simply letting it go. Maybe it is looking at the hardest thing in your life right now and asking what it is making possible instead of what it is taking away. Maybe it is sitting for 60 seconds with the reality that your time here is not unlimited and letting that change one decision you make before you go to bed tonight. That is how this works, not in a single revelation, in one small daily practice at a time, in the quiet decision made over and over again to respond instead of react, to own what is yours and release what is not, to stop watching other people live and start building something of your own. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words for no one but himself. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He wrote that in private, in the middle of everything, with no audience, no followers, no one to validate him, just a man, a philosophy, and a daily decision to live by it. That is available to you right now. Not when things get easier, not when you feel ready, right now, today, with exactly what you have and exactly where you are. Stop watching. Start living. That is the only philosophy you need in 2026.